Welcome to What the Hell. Today we're going to actually talk about, just a little information, we're going to do a charity event come November 6th through the 7th, mostly the 6th. Hopefully we have some good guests on. It'll be down in Dallas for the veterans of Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. So, hopefully you can see us out. Well, see me out there. Johnny's going to be occupied.
I'm going to be in Boston.
I'm going to be in Boston.
Or making my way back from Boston.
Anyways, we're gonna talk about Facebook screwing the pooch. Well, Instagram, Facebook, it's the same company, but a lot of people are saying it's because of a whistleblower, and other people saying it's hackers. But it is kind of convenient that the whistleblower said the same thing, said something. And what's really fun about the whistleblower is the fact that the reason why she was working at Facebook was she was trying to be a Trojan horse so Donald Trump doesn't get reelected. That was her whole thing. But politically aside, she did find some. It sounds like a Snowden type deal.
Yeah,
to where she found out a lot of stuff like with bullying and that wasn't stopped, and they're taking over safety towards bullying and everything. They don't really care. I mean, most analytics, if you look at, they have the point to where if people are arguing, people are going to it.
Yeah.
Or it's that whole if it bleeds, it leads type deal. Which, I don't know, do we post a lot of memes that, like, are, like, hate? What's really funny is the most mundane and stupid, ridiculous memes are the ones that, like, our best one so far was the toilet paper.
Yeah. I love the Let's Go Brandon memes that are going around now. Now, where that one, where the Let's Go Brandon thing originates, there was a Xfinity NASCAR race at Talladega, and somebody who had never won a race before ends up winning I want to say it was a shortened race. It was like it ended.
They're even making shirts with those him.
Well,
on
the guy's name is Brandon Brown, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because you could hear people in the crowd chanting on TV, "Fuck Joe Biden," right? Well, the ESPN reporter was saying, "Oh, you can hear the crowds chanting, 'Let's go Brandon.'" That's where that came from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And even Ted Cruz got on board with a tweet, right? And he was like, hashtag Let's Go Brandon. And it was like he posted an article or a link to something about Joe Biden. And he was like, hashtag Let's Go Brandon. And I was like, that is fucking epic. I mean, and I think Brandon Brown, the actual driver, he even got on board with the whole thing. And he was just like, I think this is kind of funny kind of a deal. But, he's not going to say a whole lot. He's not going to get too involved with it because, obviously, he's got sponsors to answer to. And his career, for the most part, is just not necessarily not going to go anywhere, but he still has responsibilities to his sponsors. And if he starts speaking out against if he starts voicing an opinion that differs from what his sponsors have, then they'll drop him and his career's not going to go anywhere because then his team's not going to be able to afford to field his car.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing about having sponsors. Even if we had gotten sponsors or something like that and we said something horrible to the point where we would lose our sponsors, we're like, oh, okay. I know there's a lot of people that don't care about that because they're raking in the money anyways.
Yeah.
So... but I think it's kind of funny that she ended up going on TV and she's saying it's like, oh, bullying's happening in this and that, and this is happening now. And at the same time, you have that one meme that got flagged as unsafe to look at. The one with the daisy line.
Yeah.
That was I tried to see if I can get it to where it's fixed or anything. No, it's locked in to where it has to be. You have to click on it. It's unsafe, and all it says is if you want to stand for something, if you have to stand alone. And
Yeah.
it just has,
And it blocks it out. Like it's sensitive content. Zuckerberg has lost his damn mind.
Well, I keep on saying this is the fact that it's not Zuckerberg because he's so high, not high up, but the fact that he's so oblivious. Once you get a company that's so big, you get you don't know what happens.
Ultimately,
to
the buck
company.
has to stop somewhere.
Yeah,
Somebody's calling the shots.
yeah,
And if Zuckerberg is so far removed from what the day-to-day operations or the day-to-day policies of his own company have, then he just needs to publicly come out and say, I'm no longer associated with Facebook. I've taken my money. I was pushed out by the board. Something. He needs to distance himself
Now the
from
person that does Twitter, on the other hand, is totally opposite.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets on there all the time. It's like, oh, I do this, I do this. I want to be on the spotlight,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. And I also like that one meme is new girlfriend found phone, unlocked it, so I had to take down Facebook and Instagram. Mark Zuckerberg.
Right, yeah. We had talked about that during our sports episode. And, it was exactly that. The meme was, here's the real reason why, and it's because he left his phone out somewhere, and he didn't want his girlfriend picking up his phone and going through his Facebook Messenger, so he just took the whole damn thing down for a few hours. And it was like when Snapchat went down for like 6 hours or something like that, about a month or so ago.
Yeah.
You started seeing all these females come up, and they're like, I love how it was immediately it was all these guys having to be loyal to their women for, while Snapchat was down. It was like, well, that shit goes both ways.
Yeah.
Right? So for at least 6 hours during the day, that day when Snapchat went down, men and women both had to be faithful. And I'm like, it's just like, come on, man. Don't do that. Don't paint that one-sided brush.
Well, they always want to paint it in that kind of thing. I mean, even with Facebook or Instagram or anything like that.
Right.
And you're looking at to the point where you're basically getting rid of a social media outlet that boasts sponsorships.
Yeah.
And data and everything. But you're also looking at the fact of, hey, you had a couple of hours to where you were. I want to see how many people just lost their minds.
Oh, yeah.
It would be freaking awesome just to see a person who's like, I can't get on Facebook. I can't cyberstalk my girlfriend that I have and everything. It probably saved a couple of people's lives too.
Yeah, actually, I think it might have, but it just.
Now, what was the Messenger down too, or
Yeah,
is
I think
it all-
Messenger was down too. Messenger, Facebook, Instagram. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't know if Messenger ever went down or not. But, but it just.
Yeah, because WhatsApp went down too.
Yeah,
Okay.
WhatsApp, yeah.
Yeah, because it's connected. But no, it also is another thing that we got a little bit of insight of how a day-to-day goes on in Facebook, because they're just letting bullying happen, and they said that it was like, oh, we're stopping bullying and everything like that, and to a degree, yeah, because I wrote some stuff one time, and this wasn't even bullying. It's like, hey, this person's being a bitch. I understand. And it was like, I understand this person's being a bitch, but you got to take these steps to better yourself.
Yeah.
And it got flagged for me using this person's a bitch. It just, I was like, I had to reword it. I had to use some word ninjutsu on that one. It was really weird.
Yeah.
How some of the stuff ends up being blocked, but it's also kind of funny that once you realize what's the going ons of that stuff, and you're like, okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
It's like you're pulling the covers off of the Wizard and Wizard of Oz. It's like, aha! Oh, it's just you.
Right, exactly. And you just kind of you want to sit there and be like, yeah, no, okay. But
And they even had a congressional hearing on it too.
the whistle, and that's the funny part, because it's like, here you're a whistleblower. Now, 36 hours later, we want you to come up to Washington, to Capitol Hill, to testify in front of a congressional panel. Well, why is
Which
that?
half the time those congressional hearings don't do anything.
They're a waste of time and money.
Yeah.
And, it's...
I mean, the only time frame that it actually helped out was the, was it church trial or investigation or some shit like that with the CIA?
Something like that, but, now I do love watching those congressional panels where, conservative, panel members roast whoever it is that's sitting behind the microphone.
Oh, yeah, our
Like
senator,
General Miley.
our senator, Rob Johnson? God dang it. I forget his name. Ronnie Jackson.
Yeah, Ronnie Jackson, yeah.
He's a prior admiral, and well, I'd still want to get his pick his brain on reason why he wasn't on the veteran, because he was supposed to be the VA Department of VA's lead, and something happened. They were saying that he was like an alcoholic and pill popper or something like that, and
Yeah.
but it was one of those time frames to where it was Trump era, and they were trying to not let anybody be in those positions.
Yeah, I mean, they'll find anything and everything that they can to basically...
And I really hate to tell everybody, though, they're probably just like, that's because of Trump. I was like, no, they've done this throughout the years. It's just now it's vocalized and shown big time.
Very much so.
Yeah. The good thing about information being shoved in your face half the time, you actually find stuff that actually is ridiculous to the point to where, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Oh, I didn't know this is happening. And you actually find out how stupid some of the districts are because they vote in people that are really, I think, mentally challenged.
Looking at you, AOC.
I'm also talking about the Congresswoman of Houston. That
Sheila
said,
Jackson Lee.
Yeah, who said that in Article 15, AR-15 weighs as much as his 10 boxes.
Yeah.
And it's a 50 caliber round, which there is an AR-50.
Yeah, but I mean it's a custom upper.
Yeah,
And it's not.
and it's a custom lower.
Yeah,
and it's
well,
bolt
no,
action.
Actually, yes and no. There's a company that sells AR uppers that are chambered in 50 BMG.
You know how much it costs, and it's ridiculous. $900.
Yeah, no tax stamp.
I know.
But
But
what they
Barrett's
do,
don't have tax stamps either.
right? But what they do with those uppers is they give you stronger retention bolt, or the takedown and pivot bolt or a pin. a stronger buffer spring and a stronger buffer. So that way you don't put stress fractures in the AR-15 lower. Now how it works is that the magazine obviously is not going to fit up through that, right? So it
goes sideways.
It's a 45 on the left-hand side. So it chambers that way.
I still wouldn't use that because I
know.
No,
they down there, Demolition Ranch,
yeah,
they stress fired everything. Because it comes in 3 different lengths. It comes in a 16-inch barrel, an 18-inch barrel, and a 24-inch barrel, right? And then they've got, it's an 18, 24, and there's like a 36 or something.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the pushback. Because
no, that's why they got the stronger buffer spring.
Still, the Barrett had the barrel for the Barrett actually moves back with the gun and everything, so you don't have that much pushback. But you still have a lot of pushback on it.
But with that custom upper that this company offered or offers, I'm not sure if they still do or not. Demolition Ranch absolutely loved it. I mean, they gave it great reviews. I remember it because I was like, "Oh yeah, I want one of those."
Yeah, they're stupid cheap too. Fuck it. Anyways, but it just shows I'm still wondering why she didn't say anything about the sex trafficking and stuff like that. Because there's still a lot of sex trafficking going on Instagram and Facebook that they're just skittling underneath the rug.
Yeah, I mean, it's dude, it's ridiculous. It really is.
Even though we use it for our podcast and everything, it's one of those. Sometimes you got to use the devil that you have right there.
Yeah, but the thing of it is that it's like, what I don't get is that, okay, so when I read the article about the whistleblower,
mm-hmm.
it just obviously had that like whole left-wing operative feel to it.
Well, yeah, because she was technically.
I mean, she came out and she was like, "Oh well, the Capitol Hill rioters or insurrectionists." I love the fact that they now put public dissent against the sitting administration. We're automatically labeled as insurrectionists. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Even though it's our constitutional right and responsibility to hold the government to an account, they now call us insurrectionists. That's awesome. But
well, that's the thing that a lot of people, only because it's shown out right now, 80% of the people are actually just moderate. But you always have those people that are screaming at your ear that are from the left or the right. It's not just, it's not just the left side. It's not just the right side. It's both sides that have this, but you have like this gap in people that go off on just what they're being fed, and half the time they don't really care.
Right.
As long as they can still get a paycheck.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. I've found myself here recently just kind of like trying to stay as far away from a lot of the political crap as much as I can because, one, I'm aware of the fact that, I'm tied to our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And, I'm tied to our YouTube channel. I mean, basically all of our social media platforms, I'm tied to it just like you're tied to it.
Yeah. That's the reason why I don't put a lot. I mean, I've found some good ones.
Yes. I mean, I try to stay away from it. I try to, among other reasons, I try to stay away from that crap because it's just like, it just consistently puts me in a bad mood. Like when Obama was in office, I used to listen to talk radio all the time when I was working during the day. And dude, it would just piss me off. It would put me in a bad mood. And once I decided to, it's like I don't want to listen to this crap today. I just want to listen to some music. It's like I generally just kind of became in a better mood. And because we've got we're always talking about if you've got a problem with what I'm saying, walk away. Well, it's not that I had a problem with what I was hearing. It's just the fact that it was just putting what is going on with the government, putting what's wrong with society, what's going on in society out there, up in my face, for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and me not being able to do anything about it. Just kind of give you that sense of hopelessness, helplessness, and just overall disparagement and gloom and doom. And I'm like, I like hearing the positive stories about patriots. I like hearing a positive story about our men and women overseas, our war fighters, doing the things that go above and beyond the Call of Duty kind of stuff. And because that gives me hope. That restores my faith in humanity. That gives me reason to say, you know what, there are people in this world that are worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Outside of our normal, small circle of friends and family.
Well, that's not even with the like I said about the God, I can't remember the battle of Scenaria or or whatever it is. 25 people going out against 14,000, and they just kept on going.
Yeah.
That brings up a lot, but I don't know where she's going to be. She can't, because she used to work for Google. Now she works for her own company. And it just seems that she wants to do the right thing on this. It's the reason why she blew the whistle on it and everything. But she's going off of teen mental health, and they're not doing anything to help out, that kind of avenue. Which, yeah. We grew up through Xbox Live, and that was
the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies.
Yeah, that was so toxic. I'm surprised we didn't have anything. People going up. It's like, my kid killed himself because of this. It was Xbox Live. Someone told him to, do it. Blah blah blah. I'm surprised we didn't have anything back in the day with that.
Well, and I think a majority of that was the fact that parents parented back then. Not to say that there's not parents that do their jobs now, but back then,
that was only eight to.
I know, but you think about how vastly. How wide of a shift that this country has taken in the last 8 years? As soon as Trump took office, you had every swinging Dick, Tom, and Harry out there that was a snowflake. As soon as he was sworn in, the mental instability of the youth of this country became a glaringly hard thing to ignore. Because on Inauguration Day, whenever you see video footage of people openly screaming at the sky.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
Or
what circumstances does a person have to be exposed to?
And she became a really big meme.
Oh yeah, or the glasses with the beanie hat and with the hide the reflective yellow jacket, right?
Or that one chick that did a TikTok video when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died.
Yeah.
She's like, couldn't you hold on a little bit longer until, Trump was out of office and everything? What were you thinking? I'm like, well, her body was thinking, I think it's about time.
It's like, yeah, I'm kind of done, but yeah, I don't know, man. The dumbing down of our American kids, the destruction of the family unit, the enablement of this womb-to-tomb, cradle-to-grave government dependency mentality is going to be the ultimate downfall. And they're hiding everything behind this guise of political correctness. They slap the term phobia on anything and everything that is remotely polarizing.
And if they don't like what you are talking about,
then you're labeled as a bigot. You're labeled as a sexist
or a Nazi.
Yeah.
Even if you I don't really think that's how it is. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's
well, then educate me. Bring up some valid, honest points.
It's kind of cookie cutter right here.
Yeah, I'm willing to admit if my viewpoint is wrong, or if my opinion is wrong, but you have to come at me
with some facts.
With facts, and I'm not talking about talking points.
Well, I'm
talking about actual facts.
Well, it's like that whole photo with the cowboy on the border and everything like that. And
yeah,
he released the reins to grab the guy.
Yeah.
And do his job. And
they jumped all over that.
And then the next
even
day,
one of our coworkers was like, "Yeah, I'm pissed off about that Haitian situation." I'm like, dude, really, and then I showed him the other camera angle from behind. I'm like, he's not whipping this dude; he's grabbing him by the shirt.
But it was photoshopped.
No.
And that's what people end up saying.
They'll say, it's photoshopped, or haters will say it's fake. Yeah, and I'm not calling anybody out, but when you talk to somebody who's so blatantly bathing, not necessarily drinking the Kool-Aid, but they're bathing in it.
Yeah.
It becomes ingrained into their mental process.
And that's another thing. People aren't thinking for themselves.
They're not. They're being given an opinion by the mass media and social media, and they go with it. It's like, okay, why do you think this? Well, because I heard it here. Okay, did you verify it? Have you done your homework? Have you gone to multiple sources? Because, God forbid, we have an independent, original thought in this country. And I blame Hollywood for a portion of this because the lack of creativity coming out of that town nowadays.
This is true.
With the insurmountable amount of reboots and remakes, and just because we're nerds, I'm looking at The Force Awakens, like Star Killer 1, Star Killer Base 1 or something like that. Star Killer Base, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're just going to make the Death Star an actual planet. Okay, sure.
I was like watching that movie. I was like, this is pretty much the same movie from the 70s.
Yeah, this is the new
newer people
with extra steps.
Yeah.
But if people were to sit there and actually take the time, I know, before you even go there, people taking the time to think for themselves perish the thought, right?
Or do their own research themselves.
Yeah.
I was like,
you want people to, respect your opinions. You want them to let you have your day.
It's
your
like
15 minutes, but earn it.
Yeah, it's just like that whole thing of telling a person verbatim what the actual law is, like the whole voter ID in Georgia and everybody
that's racist.
Well, I read the article. It was like looking at articles. It was like racism. Let's just pull up the actual law, and I pulled up the actual law, and I said verbatim. And he was like, "Well, what about this?" It was like, "Well, it says here you could do this way, if you need to. You can still mail it in and everything like that. They just have to match it up with your signature." Yeah. He's like, "Well, what about this way?" I was like, "Well, they have it right here." It's like, "We'll just have to agree to disagree." I was like, "What's giving you fucking facts, bro?"
Okay, and this is going to be a hot topic here. The heartbeat law that we've got now here in Texas.
Yeah.
That protects babies after 5 weeks.
Yeah.
All these feminists and activists and Facebook legal experts,
And by feminists, I watch Dave Chappelle. It's just a human that agrees with women's rights.
Or it's the beta male who took women's studies in college because he was trying to get laid, thinking, okay, this is going to be my way in. No, dude, you just bought yourself a one-way ticket to the friend zone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you get a lot of these activists and these leftists and these mindless sheep, and they're just like, oh, it's my body, my decision, blah, 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 blah. It's not murder. Well, for starters, yes, the baby's growing inside your body, but you're killing another person. A person doesn't start until birth. I'm like, well, what about conception? So you're going to say, where's that line? But they're getting all bent out of shape, and they're like, well, men can't tell me what to do. Well, had you taken the time to do your research, that law, that bill, was written, wait for it, by a woman. I mean, come on. It was
but she was mind wiped by a man. She was mansplaining the whole entire thing when she was writing it down. That's what happened.
Oh yeah. We'll just say that. Yeah. Oh, she was mansplaining it, so she was just a puppet. Like, she doesn't count. We don't want her as she's not considered a woman. Like, oh wait, hold on. So biologically, she has a vagina, she has a uterus, she has fallopian tube, she has a vulva,
and she identifies as a woman.
And she identifies as a woman. So by the letter of the law and by the letter of science, she is playing the game by the rules that you set out. So she is a woman, both mentally, emotionally, physically, biologically. She meets all the criteria. Check, 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 check. She's a woman. She wrote this bill. She introduced that bill. And now all of a sudden, they forget about that because it's a convenient thing, because they throw out that straw man misdirection.
And they just go up, and it was like, well, Abbott signed it. I was like,
you see those flags and those T-shirts? So like, it's because they had a protest down in Dallas. I think it was like a week or two ago. And you see these flags, these T-shirts, It's a uterus. It's like the whole reproductive thing, right? Fallopian tubes, ovaries, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it says, "Come and take it." Like, are we talking about forcibly, like, handing out hysterectomies? I mean, I'm sorry. Where was that argument? And I absolutely love this one. It goes back to an old meme, but you saw these signs and things like that at these protests. I wish as a woman that I had the same rights as a gun. What? So you want to be owned, and you want to be so regulated that the only way that you can be openly obtained is through illegal means?
Yeah.
And what about all these women's rights activists and, all these empowered women that are like, hey, I'm sexually liberated and I'm going to sleep with everybody. Well, we have a word for people like you, just like we have a word for people like that on the male side of the gender. But so by the same logic that you want to be as free and have all the same types of rights as a gun, are you telling us that we can now put you into a world where we can limit the number of clips that get inserted into you?
And it's magazine. But yeah, I get your point.
Oh, I know. And that was a faux pas. Bad Johnny. I know better.
But
so, and how big of a magazine can be put inside of you?
That is a better question. How many rounds can you?
How many rounds can you carry at one time? Yeah. How many rounds can go through your chamber at one time? How rapidly can those rounds be expended? How many rounds can go through your barrel? Within a certain time period?
Which barrel can you use?
Yeah. How long of the barrel?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the long barrel? Are we talking about the short barrel? Or are we talking about the sawed-off one that usually has a silencer wrapped around it?
Yeah.
Come on. It just, these arguments, these counterpoints, none of them are original. None of them are based in facts at all, period. Like, well, life doesn't start until a person is born, and it's only a clump of cells, but yet we're looking at other planets. We're looking at things off-world.
Yeah,
And
most of the time,
and even places here on Earth, when scientists are looking at things,
the guarantee of life is most of the time it's bacterial.
yeah, it's like, oh, you're looking at a clump of cells, and that's considered life here, but not here.
Yeah.
So, which is it? What are you going to have? You going to have your cake, or are you going to eat it too? You know, I mean, you can't have one and then deny the other. And the one thing that nobody is talking about, I mean, absolutely nobody, is the men's rights there.
Yeah.
You know, it's up to a woman. A woman can make that decision on her own, whether or not she wants to abort that child. But the man does not have a say. Well, the man got her pregnant. Well, I mean, the last time I checked, it
Takes two to tango.
Yeah, it takes two. You allowed him inside of you. You allowed him to, and this was brought up to my attention the other day, or last week. There's a bill being introduced by a Democrat, of all things, that men are no longer going to be considered men. They're called inseminators. And women are no longer women. They are birth people. And a man must be, the bill is proposing that a man must be, he must undergo a vasectomy after the birth of his third child. And now, if that bill were to pass and become law, kind of a thing, they are incentivizing your friends, neighbors, whatever. If you have not received a vasectomy after your third child is born, and you are reported, the person that reported you can receive up to a $10,000 reward.
Jesus. That's ridiculous.
How insane is that? And it's like, look, if I'm fine with, you wanting to use birth control, great, awesome. I've had a vasectomy. So it's like, I don't really care. If that law became law, go ahead and report me. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn around and once it's been proven, like, I can just picture this. The police come to your door. Put your hands behind your back. What's the charge? Not receiving your vasectomy by your third, after your third child was born. Oh, well, I can go ahead and dispel that rumor right now. I'll pull out my ball bag and show them the stitch.
I could just see you like drop trout and everything like that.
I mean, it's like greeting the door when the Jehovah's Witness comes up to talk to you, while you're trying to watch football on Sunday. It's like you answer the door in a wife beater, a pair of boxer shorts, and a cigarette in one hand, and a beer in the other. It's like, yeah, we won't talk about Jesus Christ. You come on inside. Well, no, we're okay, but. Can you imagine that? And then what? The police officer takes offense because what if it's a female officer and you pull your ball bag out? Now you're looking at an indecent exposure charge.
Well, it's probably going to be the whole thing to where just like when there's a female criminal, a female has to be present for the search.
Oh yeah. I mean, but I'm just, and now I'm just trying to be a smart ass, but.
And it's vice versa with men too.
Yeah, and I know that, but.
I wonder if you could get the number too. I was like, I have a vasectomy.
Shit.
Wink, wink.
Right?
I still like this is so fucking hilarious. I had a coworker that I worked with twice. We worked in ABB and we worked up at Helmet. And what was funny about it is I asked him just recently when we were hanging out. I was like, "Hey, is your kid still? Did you just totally disown your kid?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, because what he did is the woman cheated on him, and he told her, he's like, hey, I had a vasectomy. There's no way that could be my kid."
Right, exactly.
And he wasn't vaccinated, or not vaccinated, but had a vasectomy.
Yeah, the one overwhelming thought that went through my head when I read that. It's like, wow, because China's got that one child or two child law. you know.
Yeah.
But that's population reassignment. We're like, well, no, you're still taking people's kids and you're punishing that family, taking that kid and giving it to somebody else. You're forcing the destruction of the family unit there, and you're punishing people for having kids. It's like, all right, well, because China's it's a country of a couple of billion people, and that's our problem. How?
Well, that's one thing that a lot of people like to do is they go out of their way to basically, oh, look at over here, they're doing it right. Maybe we could try it. And we try it, and it just pummels to the ground. And it's like, why did it work over there? Because it's a different culture. If it's a different area of the world, they probably have the. I mean,
yeah, because so for example, with the population control policies over in China, it's like, well, if you don't conform or comply, you disappear.
Yeah,
you go to a work camp somewhere and you never get found.
It's like
over
saying
here,
that
those people have never known what it means to be actually free.
Yeah,
I mean, if for example, China has instituted a gaming curfew. Like Monday through Friday, kids can only play like an hour a day or some shit like that. And the IPs in China and the gaming companies that control those servers, they're just gonna getting all together, getting all lockstep, and saying, Sieg Heil, like, really? Is that what it's come down to?
Well, it's basically the fact of saying, okay, clubbing seals is okay. You can do it anytime. And our country believes this. This is just, thinking out loud and opinion. But you can do it anytime. But it's all right in this country to do that. But, what if you go to the zoo and, like, you know what, fuck that seal. And you go out and you just club the seal in front of their families and everything like that. Hey, it's my legal right to do that.
Yeah,
it sounds ridiculous.
We all have to fill our role in the overall ecosystem of the world, which is why hunting works. One, it puts food on the table. Two,
well, I'm not saying for the hunting aspect. I'm saying for the aspect of.
But what about the Inuits, the Eskimos?
Yeah.
They live on seal fat. They live on seal meat. You're going to take away their food source? What are you going to do? You're going to westernize them? Are you going to force them down into the lower latitudes? And why?
Yeah.
So that way you can make them conform to your way of life. You're forcing your way of life, your thoughts, and your beliefs on another culture. You know what that's called? Wait for it. It's called fascism. As a conservative, I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care. You can believe whatever you want to believe. You can believe that the sky is red. You can believe that there is a God. You can believe there's not a God. I'm not going to look down on you because of that. As a God-fearing man, I will say, I'm going to pray for your salvation. I'm going to pray that God opens up your heart one day, or that you open your heart to God and you recognize that He does in fact exist. But I'm not going to sit there and force my beliefs on you. I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, you have this opinion, it's different than mine. I'm going to come over there and beat the crap out of you until you believe the way that I believe. Because throughout the course of human history, and most recently in the 30s and 40s, we had a group of people that did that, and they were called Nazis, the Night of the Long Knives. Hitler's brown shirts went out and basically ran amok and just made life fucking miserable for Jews everywhere.
Or what happened with Stalin.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted to get socialism and everything, and a lot of farmers ended up dying because they wanted the property, and then they found out that, hey, we need this food source. So that happened. But you also got to look at the fact of the forefathers,
The forefathers.
The forefathers, they had the insight of actually saying, hey, different parts of the country is going to end up acting differently.
Yeah.
So, or this is going to pertain here, so we'll just let the states govern themselves because they know what's going to be best for their state or their area.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm the firm belief that this country needs to experience a new awakening. And I'm not talking about being woke. There is a difference between an awakening and being woke. Being woke is just an ignorant thing. I mean, it's just an ignorant word. You woke up, but you're not woke. I mean, really? I mean, that's like these
You're not woke enough.
It's like these ignorant ass college students, like that guy that quit on his team for Ohio State.
Yeah.
In the middle of the game, he tweeted out, "Good luck to my teammates," and he spelled luck L-U-C-C. Like, dude, you graduated high school, you are in a college university, and you're trying to tell me that it takes more effort to reach over and hit the C twice than it does for your other thumb to go over there and hit the fucking K button? Spell that shit right, or at the very least, voice to text.
Yeah.
Unless you're a mumbler in Siri or, whatever your Android's called, can't fucking understand you.
It's called Android. Just putting it out there.
Well, it's Fisher-Price phones. That's all. I mean, it's the 21st fucking century. Get over yourself. Become an adult. Just go out and get a phone that works.
Become
Anyways,
part of the sheep of the apples.
it's whatever. It's called connectability, people. God. Oh, but it's an open root system, and I like what I like. Okay, fine. You want to bring that argument up? Okay, fine. I will allow you to bask in your ignorance, and then whenever you and I are trying to hold a conversation, like at work, for example, and yes, if our boss ever listens to this, he's going to be like, what in the actual... And we'll hear about it. But you know what? I'll invite that debate, because I'll be like, I said what I said. Change my mind. Like if we're out on a job site and we need his guidance in real time, I don't want to have to use Facebook Messenger. Everybody else, with the exception of one other person, not going to mention any names, but his initials start with an M, have iPhones. Right?
Yeah.
Even our head salesperson has converted. He has an iPhone now. Right? Our boss, Android. Right? FaceTime would be amazing to have. Everybody else has got Apple. Get an Apple. iPhones. Have FaceTime. It's great. Awesome. Yes, I know Android's got an app for that, but it's built in. And we can get real-time conversations, real-time guidance on something that may be a little bit outside of our skill set.
Well, it's also the point to where even if we don't pay our phone bill, as long as we have Wi-Fi, we can still talk to each other.
Yeah. But as
I
long
can
as
still call you.
But as long as our boss is being fiscally responsible and paying all the bills. I looked at the camera, breaking that fourth wall like I'm looking at you. Yes, our boss pays the bills. He pays our payroll. Yeah. So I mean, he's taking care of what needs to be taken care of. Anyhow, moving on. It's like a White House tour. We're walking, and
Yeah.
we're stopping. We've got that capability. It's called technology. It's called the progression of things. It's like, don't be so set in your ways to where you just refuse to budge and it becomes a fault. But on the flip side of it,
Or you can't come up with a new idea
Yeah.
and it actually works out, and
Right.
or you just shun it. Like, what was that damn thing? Dark Ages.
right, yeah.
Where science was bad, but the church was still good.
Science is bad, church is good. But yeah, it's like
Or being a biology teacher and being a
creationist. Yes. I believe in creationism, but I also believe in evolution to a degree.
Yeah.
I know, I'm kind of like that anomaly. I brought that up with my girlfriend, and she was like, oh, well, you think that we came from apes? And I'm like, I don't necessarily think that we came from apes. We share a lot of the same DNA. But does that mean that Jojo the circus chimp over here is going to evolve and we're going to have like a Planet of the Apes uprising? Not necessarily.
I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, sure. Bring it on. Caesar the ape? Yeah, I'll put you in my crosshairs. I'll be a Huckleberry. Let's go. But it's like, I believe in UFOs. I believe that there's intelligent life in this universe, in this galaxy.
I think it just bypasses it every once in a while.
I believe that there are other intelligent species out there that do not look like us. Because I think it is inherently arrogant of us to think that we, as a species, are not only the only life in the universe.
Dude, I've watched the Star Wars documentary. I know there's other races. Stupid.
Well, fair. But, if you're going to bring up Star Wars, that did happen a long time ago. Anyways, moving on.
Evolution,
right? So, but to think that we as a species are the only thing out here and that we are what God looks like, yes, I understand in the Bible it says that God created us in his own image. But God is supposed to be all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipresent, omnipotent, right? And I know where your brain's going. I said omnipotent, not impotent. God. It's sad that I know this. I don't even have to say it.
No, what I was thinking is, like, what if when God created us, he was really high?
Yeah, I don't want to get struck with lightning right now, nor ever. So I'm going to move away from that. He said it, not me. Wait till he gets outside. But to think that we are what God looks like we are the end-all, be-all form of God. God can take on whatever form he wants. So he may have created us in his own image and said, this is what I want you to look like. He created another species. This is what I want you to look like. God can do anything that God wants to do. He can move mountains. He can use situations that would not necessarily you would think that would be part of his will, part of his plan. He allows things to happen to us, like seasons. Bad seasons, good seasons in our lives. Strife and turmoil versus victory and feast. Right. Everything is done for his will. I mean, it's done according to his plan, and it helps to. I mean, he uses those different situations to help. Exemplify his glory and his power, right? But we're not what God looks like. I mean, we may be a form of what God looks like, but so I mean, you talking about the Greys, and as far as the aliens are concerned, with the big heads and the almond-shaped eyes and stuff like that. And, I'm not saying that those people are wrong. That may be what they saw. That may be what's visiting us.
Well, it's one of those things. Is if something's constant. Then it's
and I firmly believe that the Earth is more than 6,000 years old. I mean, I believe that the Earth is millions of years old. I mean, because yes, while it says in creation, the creation story in Genesis, that God created the Earth in 6 days, right?
Yeah, but 6 days to him.
6 days to him, exactly. 6 days to him may be like a day for him, maybe like a million years.
Yeah.
And we're always talking about things happen in God's time. Things happen according to God's plan, his timing, his time, this, that, and the other. And, I mean, we've even had to create a new measurement of time when we're talking about the Big Bang Theory, right? Because it's talking about Planck time. Because scientists were trying to figure out a way to explain how the expansion of the universe at the initial creation, right? Everything expanded out, and they figured that it expanded out faster than the speed of light. Well, if Einstein is in fact correct and you cannot travel faster than the speed of light, then they had to come up with a new measurement of time called Planck time. So it breaks down seconds further than nanoseconds.
Well, the whole concept of time is only a human concept, though.
Yes, it's a construct. Yes, I understand that. But, so as it relates to the overall, I mean, getting back to, and this was a big end around here, but as it relates to, what we recognize as life versus what some political groups and some
it's
vocal minorities.
It's the opinion of one person compared to the opinion of another.
Yeah. And what is that line? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one, but for the few.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you need to go out and abort that child, do I think that you should have access to that? Yes, but there needs to be qualifiers for it. Using abortion as a means of contraception? Absolutely not. And, and they want to talk about, well, they're taking away women's, choice to choose or ability to choose. Well, no. Just up to 5 weeks, you have that ability to go out and actually get a physical abortion. They also have the Plan B. That's widely available. You don't even need a prescription for that anymore. Yeah. So they're just looking at this as, oh, well, the government's trying to legislate my ability to kill, and let me stop there, because using abrasive words and terminology like kill, abort, taking away a woman's ability to terminate a pregnancy after the 5-week mark is not legislating what they can and cannot do with their body. It is about the preservation of life. Pure, plain, and simple. Because, do I agree with the law? Yeah, I'm glad that they passed it. I absolutely am. Does that make me a misogynist? Does it make me a pig? In some eyes, in the eyes of some people, yeah, it does. But one of the biggest losers in that heartbeat law is Planned Parenthood, because they thrive. I mean, it's $1 billion a year business for them. Not only in the cost of the abortion, for especially late-term abortions, but when that fetus is delivered after the abortion is completed, Planned Parenthood harvests the organs and stem cells from those aborted fetuses, and they sell them to medical companies.
I still need to do research on that and find out.
It's like $1 billion. It's close to $1 billion a year that Planned Parenthood makes.
I thought it was just $1 billion only because of the government giving them grants.
Oh well, yeah, no. That's in addition to the subsidies that we give them as a government, as America. I mean, I think we need to defund them, because if we're always talking about how we're broke and the government needs to pass a balanced budget, well, how about we stop giving money to all these foreign governments that hate us, like Pakistan. Pakistan can't stand us. Why are we giving them money? Why are we giving Iran money? Why do we still give a shit about what the hell goes on in Iraq? I mean, we've handed that country back over to them prematurely, but we handed it back over to them. Why are we giving them money still? Why are we propping up their government? Why are we propping up their currency? Why are we giving money to Europe? Why are we giving money to Middle Eastern countries at all? I mean, if we give money to any one government, it should be the Israelis, because they're our partners in that region. They align themselves with us. Our interests are of the same, at least depending on the administration that's sitting in the White House.
Yeah, because even right now, United Kingdom won't do anything with the United States.
Absolutely not. And it's because of our president.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. But I say quote unquote because I absolutely refuse to acknowledge Sleepy Joe as a legitimate president. Well, he got certified. Let's not go down that road, because we can be here all day, and to be honest, I've got some errands to run, and you've got episodes to edit.
And I got other things to do with my dad, so.
Yeah, well, that too.
I got to run around, too.
Yeah, so, but on that note, God, we could absolutely go all day. This would be like a good thing that we could do like a YouTube live, and then have people
screaming at us
and giving comments, and we could be like, all right, fine. You want to be an adult?
We could probably do a Facebook Live on this.
Yeah, you know what? We probably could. But all that aside, I've got to get my MacBook over to Best Buy so that way they can work my keyboard. But, man,
this is a good talk.
That's a good talk, yeah. So,
this is one of those good talking episodes. We didn't really have a big subject other than a little bit of news that we got this week.
Programming note. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. I think we should probably wait until Tuesday to do the sports episode for next week. One, because
All the games going to be done?
No. But I've got a commitment Monday night that I have to get to, provided work cooperates and we can get back on time. Because I've got an officers meeting for my American Legion post on Monday night at 6. Because they're discussing things, among other things, of like, we're more than likely within the next year going to be losing our commander because he's going to probably be moving back to West Virginia. I'm going to be relocating to Houston at least at some point in the next year. So yeah, there's that. So they're just kind of looking. They're trying to spitball things to get a better picture as to how they can proactively plan to keep the post viable and solvent. And, so that way we're not vacating slots in the in the cabinet, so to speak, and leaving everybody kind of high and dry, because, I mean, what happens when you leave privates and lower enlisted in charge without no direction? It's fucking anarchy, right? No, we can't have that. But
there might be a Geneva article on that one, too.
Oddly enough, no. That's why we have things like the E4 Mafia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we should probably wait until Tuesday to shoot next week's sports episode. And I think I want to because I know, like, on November 1st, it's a Monday. So as soon as I get off of work, bam, I'm in the car and I'm heading to Houston. I
would just put a couple of episodes in there.
I think we should, you know what? That's Sunday, October 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's Halloween night, too. Should probably...
Saturday.
Yeah, we can pre-record our sports episode, and then you can just release it Monday night. But we'll spitball all that out.
Yeah.
It was at the front of my mind, so I just wanted to get it out before I forgot about it.
They're all knowing now. But anyways,
Pay no
this is
attention
What
to
the
the
Hell
man behind the
episode.
curtain.
I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
And thank you for watching.
Let's go, Brandon.